You know what? All things considered, I'm going positive. I did. It's right there. Just fucking use. Come on. We tried our best, but it's just not happening. That was true. And even if I did have powers, I had no idea how to use them.
ねえ、逃げよう。タッキーはよくやったよ。
I've literally wanted to throw Seraton off this fucking goddamn roof this whole time.
でもこれ以上は無理。
But obviously I can't because like I need her.
死にたくないっしょ。
I mean, again, I'd rather die trying to do something than the wibbly wobbly. Oh wait, am I not? Oh god damn it. But Nanami.
タッキーはよくやったよ。
Yeah.
妹を亡くした悲劇の兄として今後もやっていけるって。
No, I don't want that. Tragic big brother.
PTSD って言えば何もかも許されるっしょ。
I mean, that's just
正々堂々と引きこもれるんだよ。
the best shut-in.
もしかしたらさ、どっかの偽善者が同情してタッキーを養ってくれるかもしんないね。
I feel like
ブログに適当なこと書けば出版社に目をつけられてベストセラーになっちゃうかも。
Oh, well, maybe, huh?
日本中が泣いたとか白々しいキャッチコピーがつけられて、それに載せられたバカでゆとりな人たちからの感動した、共感したっていう絶賛の嵐。
No one's gonna cry for me.
それで印税もガッポガッポ。半年後に映画が決定っしょ。
I like how this is just.
すごいよ。ナナミッチをここで見殺しにするだけでタッキーにはバラ色の人生が待ってるんさ。
Do you know how fucked up that actually sounds? I mean, we are pretty fucked up in the head.
さあ、どっちを選ぶ？
Is this positive?
タ
I
ッキー
don't.
がここで頑張ってでも死んで全てが無になるか、
Yes.
バラ色の人生か。
I would rather die. I say that and then it cuts off.
死にたくない。
Well, no one wants to die, but you know, if it happens, it happens.
痛いのは嫌だ。
Oh, this
死
poor
ぬの
boy.
は嫌だ。消えるのは嫌だ。ナナミがどうなろうと
Dude,
僕は痛くも痒くもない。
listen to his voice. He's just. I muttered all of that to myself. That was my way of trying to make it sound convincing. The one I should trust, it wasn't Shogun. It was Seraton. No, fuck her. Throw her off the edge. And then when we save Nanami, throw Shogun off the edge. You know what? Here's another thing that I didn't say last time. You know how Shogun sounds kind of weird? Obviously, because he's like using a fucking voice changer now for some reason. He didn't do that before. Alright? And on top of that, they never said we actually saw him. God damn it. I'm upset.
あの剣に見えるだけで剣じゃない。ただの光の反射とか目の錯覚だ。
It's right there.
そうだよ。さあ、帰ろう。
No, I don't want. I want to go back. I want to be negative.
帰ったらさ、私のパンツ見ながらいっぱいエッチなこと想像していいから。
I could do that anytime. Ugh.
僕帰る。
No, you son of a bitch. I'm the one in control.
帰って。セーラタンにハーハーするよ。
No,
嬉しいな。
I hate
タッキー
everything.
のためにエッチなポーズたくさんしてあげるね。
Methinks I perhaps didn't do things right. Or maybe. Oh no. Oh, why? I just want to live. Well, I mean, I don't. I slowly withdrew my outstretched hand. That alone made me feel much more at ease. I took Seraton out of my chest pocket and gazed at her smile. As long as I had her forgiveness, I didn't need anything else. I sniffled, sucking up the snot that had been dripping from my nose. I then turned around and started walking toward Shogun.
誰が動いていいと許可した？クエストはまだクリアしていないぞ。
Why is this music happening? Like it's all inspirational.
僕は勇者なんかじゃない。妹一人救えないようなヘタレな妹だよ。
I mean, true.
僕に期待しないで。
I was hoping we would actually do something this time, though.
僕を見ないで。僕をそっとしておいて。
ではナナミちゃんは殺すことにするよ。
No, I don't want it.
どうせもう死んでる。
He's like, no, she's right here. And just like holds her out. She was already dead. Nanami had been brutally murdered by Shogun. Everyone would report on it starting tomorrow, treating it as the 6th NewGen incident. It saddened me, but there was nothing I could do about it. Oh, thank God. Get me out of that. It didn't do that last time. What the fuck? Wait. Oh, no. No, stop. Just stop making me suffer. This is with the blood, the hand, and the... Oh. I heard the sound of dripping water, but it's not water at all. It was blood. Nanami's blood. Dark red blood dripped from the wrist where her hand had been severed. I'm here. But he's like giving up and... Oof. Ow. Dude, he's like having so... Yep, that sounds about right. I screamed my guts out. This is what happens when you drive a man to like the peak limit, you know what I mean? Oh God. The world turned crimson. My anger, sadness, and shame were ripping my head apart. My thoughts were a chaotic mess. Uh-oh. Without any rhyme or reason, I charged toward Shogun. I made to grab him within his hiding place in the shadows. But I didn't get the physical response I'd expected. I didn't think you would. I collapsed along with the wheelchair. See, we knew the wheelchair was there, but like he, you know, must have hurt my elbow as pain was shooting through it. What? He's like, what the fuck? Grimacing, I searched for the person who should have been sitting on the wheelchair. Did he? I gotta give it to him. He was gonna charge the man at my feet. A head tumbled across the ground. Wait, a head? Terrified, I slowly reached out my hand, and what I felt was extremely hard. Rather than a freshly severed head, it was very clearly a helmet. Oh. Ah, pitch black helmet. Okay. Oh, that is scary. Wait.
That's a spider.
That's I was like, this is like a Darth Vader mask. What's going on here? Darth Spider. Okay, so that was... I'll finish chapter 6. Psychopath. Excellent. Okay. So was that coming through the helmet then? I imagine. He's obviously not there. Despite midnight quickly approaching, the ticket gates of the subway's Hanzamen line were still filled to the brim with people. Did I just leave? The earthquake had violently disrupted the public transportation schedules, and no one was even attempting to hide their frustration as they passed through the ticket gates. I'm mad. Oh. Employing a sidelong glance, Ban Yasuji, okay, inspected the monitor resting in the station attendant booth. The station staff had received a call yesterday during their morning operations. The caller had reported that a high school girl wielding a gigantic bladed weapon was going on a rampage in the area. Wait a minute, they can see that. They can seize it. The police have been dispatched in response to this, but upon arriving at the scene, they found no trace of the girl, nor the man who had supposedly been attacked. Bon, who had happened to overhear the story earlier today, was very interested in the appearance of the male victim. The fact that there had been several similar incidents had also caught his attention. This was why Bon was making an appearance here at such an hour. Dude, he's always on the case, man. I'm telling you, I'm in his hands. According to his sources, the incident had been captured in full on one of the surveillance cameras. When Bon asked the station attendant to show him the video, they willingly agreed, but warned the detective that the video was a little creepy. I'll be the judge of that. Duly noting this, Bon elected to have them show him the video. Let me see. The video was full of static. Maybe it's from the earthquake, Bon thought to himself. There had been various reports about the earthquakes causing citizens to lose hard disk data, leaving Bon to wonder whether it was related. I mean, it fucked up our computer for a little bit. It would be difficult to identify anyone in the recording, as they were just barely visible. The recording featured a single man. He was standing by the wall in the far right-hand corner of the screen. The wall was located slightly far from the ticket gates, meaning passengers would not travel past it very often as they were changing trains. Incidentally, a few other passengers had just crossed in front of the camera. The man's appearance was hard to make out due to the fierce static, but he was fairly short and thin, and he was carrying a large rucksack. Okay, so it's Senna. Senna's attacking people. We've seen her do this before. Because the rucksack's just shit. What exactly was he doing? Bon could not say. After about an hour or so had passed in the video, a small change occurred. A few people commuting to work were walking in in the direction of the man, and then they swiftly stopped. To Bon, it looked as if they had been drawn to the man with the rucksack. Wow, I wonder why. What was truly strange, however, was that they did not speak to him. They simply stood there in a daze. The people who had stopped did not seem to be acquaintances of the man. They were of different ages, sexes, statures. There was absolutely nothing they shared. What in place is going on? I'd be like, what in tarnation? Staring at the monitor, Bon tilted his head to the side. And as he did so, a lone girl entered the frame. Here she comes. She had long hair, and she was wearing a uniform from Suime Academy. The girl headed straight for the man with the rucksack, in a manner that could only be described as exuding nothing but pure, unadulterated confidence. Her movements were entirely unlike those who had stopped before. Instead of halting, the girl pushed aside the people gathered there and seized the man by his collar. Such rough and tumble. For a short period of time, the two of them argued about something. Rather than an argument, however, it was far closer to the girl simply screaming at the man without giving him room for air. Or at least that's how it appeared. That's our girl. A few of the people who had stopped seemed to return to their senses and promptly left the scene. Eventually, the girl thrust the man away from her. The girl took a step back from the man who had fallen on his rear, then assumed a strange pose. She lowered her hips and brought both fists next to her ears. Okay, yeah, because she's sword, but the girl looked as if she was holding something, but there was nothing in her hands. According to the report, the girl had been wielding a large blade, but where on earth could she have been hiding such a thing? So some people could see it, obviously. But we can't right now. The answer to that soon became apparent. Oh my god. Suddenly, the screen, the camera, shook. It was not static. The rustling hair and clothes of the passerby made it clear. The surveillance camera itself was shaking. Bon gawked at the screen. He had no idea where she retrieved it from. So he could see it now, yeah. But the next thing he knew, the girl was holding a gigantic sword in her hand. One that was longer than she was tall. Bon asked for the tape to be rewound just so he could confirm what he'd seen. That kind of freaked me out. But no matter what angle he examined it from, the sword appeared to have been conjured out of thin air. The girl had not moved a single muscle. She had remained in her hunched position the entire time. This much was undeniable. What kind of dark sorcery? The people in the video went into a panic when faced with the sudden appearance of the sword, but the girl did not seem to care about the people around her. The man with the rucksack, however, was very clearly terrified. He tried desperately to scramble to his feet and run away, but the girl would not allow that. With incredible agile movement, she pursued the fleeing man and swung her giant sword as if it were as light as a feather. Whoop! Yup. In a manner akin to a violent windstorm, the sword tore the man's rucksack to pieces. The impact was so strong, the man immediately collapsed to the ground. That's our girl. Despite this, he appeared uninjured. In fact, when the police officers arrived on the scene immediately after receiving the call, they had not found even a single trace of blood. Get a good look. Then, as if the girl had heard Bond's murmuring, something that should have been impossible considering it was a recording, she suddenly turned toward the camera. Okay, I'd be actually fucking scared. The screen ever so slightly distorted, and then, okay. And the girl's figure disappeared in an instant. Oh my god. That would scare the shit out of me. It was as if she had never even been there to begin with. The man's shredded rucksack had been left behind, and the remnants of it were proof that the girl had been there. It's the powers and everything, and the sword and the... It was hard to tell because of the static, but it was clear that the girl had disappeared from the screen in less than a second. Bond rewound the tape again. There was nothing that seemed unnatural about the time displayed in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. In other words, the footage had not been edited. But if that were true, how could Bond explain the girl and the sword? Bond, feeling as though he had seen a ghost, could do nothing more than remain completely and utterly puzzled. Holy shit. Oh man, poor Billy Williams. You got your shit worked out for you. Why am I flashbanged? A world of complete and utter white. And I was lying right in the center of it all. It felt as if I was floating, but I didn't know whether or not if I actually was. I couldn't figure out what direction I was facing. Not up, nor down, left, nor right. The silence was deafening. It felt as if there were hundreds of insects buzzing around in my head at once. If someone were to tell me that this was the afterlife, I couldn't see myself contesting it. Imagine this. This is what you get when you die. Light mode. That was how monotonous, simplistic, tranquil, orderly, immaculate, empty, and peaceful the world was. Perhaps this was what the mind of Buddha was like upon reaching enlightenment. It was so incredibly different from my own mind. Yeah, it's chaotic. I wanted to stay here forever. The irritation that came with reality, the loneliness, the pain, the suffering. I didn't want to face any of it anymore. Can I, not have this anymore? What the hell was that? As my thoughts began to cascade, I heard a noise burst into the white world that had previously been silent. Yeah, I was going to say, was that like a door? That's what it sounded like. The sound of a door being opened, and the sound of someone's footsteps getting closer and closer.
Oni, kita
Whoa! What? Help, Space Marines? I'm not having... Oh, she sounds younger. Okay, I was like, am I having a stroke? I don't...
はい、これプレゼント。 手編みの帽子なんだよ。すごいでしょ、すごいでし
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate
ょ。もう
that.
冬だしね。ナナね、帽子好きだから編んだの。
It's like, I'm gonna take your gift now.
使
And,
ってね。もう
he's dead. What?
お兄、無視しないでよ。あー、ご飯残してるじゃん。せっかくのカレーなのに。ちゃんと食べないとダメなんだよ。
Was he like in the hospital? That would make sense.
ねえねえ、病院のご飯って美味しくないって本当？
Okay, yeah. So there it
で
is.
も食べないとダメ。
I don't wanna.
起きる。お兄、食べずに寝たら夜になってお腹空いちゃうんだから。
It depends on what they're serving me that day. Someone's hand made its way under my back and forcibly shook my body awake. That was when I first realized that my eyes had been closed. And it's just white. Oh, I'm only sadder now. When I opened my eyes, a little girl was standing there. It was Nanami, my little sister. But she was awfully little. It was Nanami from a long time ago. But how long ago, I wondered? She must have been at least in elementary school.
はい、あーして。
I'm depressed. The younger Nanami scooped up some curry with a plastic spoon and offered it to me. And I slapped the hand holding the spoon. What are you doing? You son of a... Still a piece of shit, I see. Even after all this time, I still didn't know what had been going through my head. But in that moment, I'd knocked away the tray of curry and rice with my hand and sent it crashing to the floor.
お兄、お行儀悪いんだ。お母さんに言いつけてやるぞ。
She just scolds him. Nanami crouched down to the floor and picked up the tray I had cast aside. She then retrieved a washcloth from the sink in the corner of the room and began cleaning the mess that I'd made.
ほんと、世話が焼けるな。ナナがいないと何にもできないんだから。
True. That's enough. I covered my face with my hands, then slowly closed my eyes, let me return to that white world.
ごめんね。あなたを守ってあげられなくて。
Huh? What? What did... Hello? Well, I slowly opened my eyes and saw a white ceiling. It was so bright, it nearly blinded me. I blinked my eyes a few times. I tried to move my fingertips. I raised my hand in front of my face. The palm of my hand created a shadow. At last, I was free from the blinding glare. I'd been dreaming about Nanami. Ever since I could remember, she'd had an especially strong will. After the bus accident back in elementary school, I'd stopped talking to anyone and everyone. But even so, that part of Nanami only became stronger and stronger. Unlike my parents, who were simply overprotective and nothing else, she'd taken care of me all while remaining firm and strict. But that dream... Had I ever been hospitalized before? I'd gone in for checkup, sure, but I mean, well, it was just a dream, so there was no real reason to take it, nor the contradiction seriously. God, I was lying on a bed. It was a white bed with a pipe frame. The sheets were white, the pillows were white, the linoleum floor was white, the wallpaper was white, the fluorescent lights on the ceiling were white, the curtains covering the windows were white, the small shelf next to the bed was white, the ceramic water pitcher was white, and paper cups were white. Starting to get fed up with all this white. Mustering up my resolve, I attempt to sit up. For a split second, I felt a numbing pain jolt through the area around my waist, but it went away just as suddenly as it appeared. Alright, kind of weird. The room was fairly large, at least twice the size of my base, but what really bothered me was how incredibly dreary it was. Maybe it was a hospital room. Wow, I would never have suspected in my life. There was a pair of green slippers lined up right beneath the bed. Oh shit, they're right there! I was relieved to find a color other than white. My body was moving just fine, and it didn't seem like I was dead either. Huh. So they just... I was thirsty. I wanted a cola. An ice, cold, carbonated cola. I almost said sola. Like, what? Sunrider? But there was no way I'd be able to find something like that in this pure white room. So I was forced to pour water directly from the pitcher into my mouth. Ah, the man's way. It was a bit lukewarm, but it was enough to satisfy my thirst. Oh, hi. Upon finishing the water, I took a breath. The door opened, and the nurse wearing white scrubs came into my room. That was enough for me to confirm that I was in the hospital after all. Oh, you're finally awake. Upon seeing me, her eyes grew slightly wide. She must have thought I would still be asleep. Nope. Up and at 'em. I don't know how I got here, why I'm here, or anything.
西条さん、目が覚めたんですね。
Facing me, she gave me a gentle smile, the mark of a true nurse. But something told me I'd seen this person before. Not can possibly. Oh, I remember her now. She was the... God damn it. She was the grill who'd been at the hospital when I'd gone to see Dr. Takshina a while back. Why? He just had... What'd she say her name was? I couldn't remember. So I stole a glance at the name tag on her chest. Hazuki was written on it. Right, Hazuki-san.
お体の調子はどうですか？
I have no idea. Hazuki-san held out a thermometer to me so naturally I couldn't help but take it.
体温を測ってくださいね。
With how nicely she'd asked me, I had no choice but to comply. My head was overrun with question marks, but I put the thermometer inside my armpit nonetheless. Immediately after I did so, a memory burst to life inside my head. I remember when it happened. Oh no, don't remember anything. No, he's remembering. Back then, I'd given up on saving Nanami. I'd grabbed on the Shogun's wheelchair. But there had been no response. It collapsed in a heap, and when I looked at it again, all I'd been holding was Darth Spider's helmet. Count Darth Spider, the very embodiment of evil in Spark Wars. Oh my god. His black-clad appearance was famous even in Japan. Dude, Darth Vader's a scary motherfucker when you're a kid, alright? But I would have never thought that Shogun would cosplay as him. So my anger had been overridden by raw confusion. After that, I'd stood up and looked at the wheelchair, but there'd been no one in it. Only a black hood draped over the back of it. That was another part of Darth Spider's costume. I'd then examined my surroundings one more time, but there'd been no one there. I'd been the only one on that pitch black rooftop. Oh god, that freaked me out a little bit. Suddenly the press then came flooding in all at once. They surrounded me with lights, cameras, and action, and microphones. I'd had no room to breathe. There had been more than 10 of them in total. I'd been so overwhelmed by it all. My terror simply grew and grew. I'd wanted to run away, but I couldn't move a muscle. I'd been a total mess.
Nishijo-kun!
Dude, he's just gonna pass out.
結局ニュージェネの犯人は誰なのかわからないということですか？
I don't...
そのダース・スパイダーのヘルメットは何か超能力と関係あるのかな？
You shut your goddamn
西条
mouth.
さん、答えてくれませんか？これで終わりなんて言うなら電波ジャックですよ。
I
結局
didn't...
何がしたかったんです？ニュージェネに便乗した売名行為ですか？不謹慎だと思わないんですか？
I didn't do anything.
ユ
I
ーリ・ブライ
just...
トマンさんとは最近話したかな？どんなこと話した？
地震
No.
とニュージェネについて何か関係あると思いますか？
Oh my
その
god.
手に持っている美少女フィギュアは何らかの儀式的なアイテムと考えていいんですか？
A totem? Oh
この
wait.
ような行動を取ったことにはアニメやゲームの影響はあったのかな？
西条さん、
That's all unfounded.
西条さん、
西条君！
Takumi, just let me handle this. The lighting pointed at me had been incredibly hot. It felt as if my skin was being singed by the sun during the hottest part of the summer. The flood of people from the media made me feel lightheaded. My field of vision had been spinning around in circles. Yeah, here he goes. I've been cornered. I've been panicking. I've been unable to breathe. I'd grasped my head. I can't see anything. I don't want to see anything. I can't hear anything. I don't want to hear anything. I can't feel anything. I don't want to feel anything.
やめて
And done.
やめてくれ
Jesus. Oh, ooh. At the very same moment I screamed, like a computer that had short-circuited. My consciousness had been severed. Dude, I'm a lost soul. We're lost souls. Well, at least he remembered. That was exactly what had happened. I lost consciousness. And then, how'd I end up here at the hospital? Yeah, the paparazzo would not send us to the hospital at all. I couldn't remember. At the very least, I didn't think I'd come on my own. So maybe I'd been brought to the hospital by an ambulance? Hazuki-san was writing something on the clipboard she was holding. She must have had a slip of paper clipped to it. Was she writing about my condition? What's on there? You have to tell me. Just get so mad. I checked what time it was via the simplistic watch wrapped around her wrist. It was a little after 6 a.m. Man, I slept for a really long time. Oh, God. I'm going to be negative on this one. Listen, after everything I've been through, I'm fucking done. Regardless, why had I been brought here? If Hazuki-san was here, then that meant this was my normal hospital. It wasn't like me to be brought to a general hospital. I mean, it wasn't like me being brought to a general hospital was particularly weird, but something still didn't feel right. Why was Hazuki-san coming to check on me? That question really bothered me. I mean, Hazuki-san was a psychiatric nurse. If Hazuki-san was coming to check on me, didn't that mean that this room I was in was also being used by psychiatric patients? Well, luckily I hit the negative, alright?
警察の人が後でお話を聞きたいそうですよ。
Oh, the wibbly wobbly and the police. I just wanna it's not there. Hazuki's gentle tone turned cold. I'm going back. I want to go back back in time. Without looking at me, she continued writing something on a piece of paper attached to a clipboard.
妹さんを殺すなんてひどい人ですね。
What? What the fuck did she just say?
あなたの家で見つかったそうですよ。
No, impossible.
死体。
No. I hit the negative. This isn't real. What?
妹さんの手首を切り落として持ち歩いていたなんてまともじゃないわ。
I mean, that definitely would not be normal.
僕は殺してない。
そう主張しているらしいですね。意味不明なことばかり言ってて話にならないって刑事さんがぼやいてました。
Yeah, sounds like us.
心神喪失で無罪っていうのを狙ってるんですか？
Oh, yeah, we gotta plead insanity. That wins every time.
でもみんな思ってますよ。
Fuck.
あなたが殺したんだって。
No, I didn't. Whoa, that? I didn't like that. My chest squeezed tightly, and I began to hallucinate that everything before my eyes had gone completely black. I was starting to doubt myself. But had I killed Nanami? No, there's no way. Now we're going even crazier. No, that couldn't be true.
人殺し。
What? She had been writing something, but suddenly Hazuki's hand stopped. She then slowly turned the clipboard toward me. Ah! Fuck you! Fuck all of you! I'm starting to see why this chapter is called Psychopath. Oh, thank God. Imagine. Imagine if that was the true end. Suddenly, I realized I was sitting in the same bed, in the same hospital room, and I wasn't sure why the sheet I just ripped off me was still on me. Hatsuki-san, who had been standing right beside the bed, had disappeared before I could even blink. Wiping the greasy sweat off my forehead, I looked around the hospital room once more. Okay. After a couple knocks, Hazuki-san entered the room, and her eyes widened slightly upon seeing me. So it's just back to when she...
西条さん、 目が覚めたんですね。
Oh my god. A gentle smile accompanied her as she said that. I stiffened up, then looked away.
お体の調子はどうですか？
That was a terrible delusion. Hazuki-san held out a thermometer to me so naturally I couldn't help but take it.
体温を測ってくださいね。
I'm in Groundhog Day. No, I don't think I will. As I took the thermometer from her, I gulped. It's the same. The exact same thing from before was repeating. It was as if Hazuki-san had just walked into the hospital room for the first time. Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm slightly uncomfortable. I nervously reached out for the thermometer in my underarm, or you know what I meant. I was sure I had to put a thermometer in there just a minute ago, and yet there was nothing there. The thermometer had just disappeared, which meant that what I'd seen earlier really had been a delusion. The tension in my body disappeared, but that didn't mean that my state of mind was any better, nor that I felt anywhere close to relieved.
昨日ご家族がお見えになっていたんですけど、
What?
西条さんの意識が戻らないので、日付が変わる頃にお帰りになりました。
Wait, hold the goddamn hoozlin here.
今日は診察時間が始まる頃にお母様が来るそうですよ。
Okay, I nodded in response, not having the energy to say anything back. Mom, I'm sorry for being such a disgrace. I'm an embarrassment to Japan. No, to the entire world. True. The entire thing had been televised, meaning it had already spread to the entire country. I was sure my shameful behavior had been uploaded to YouTube as well. I had no idea why I've been made into the amazing Esper boy. And it didn't make any sense to broadcast my every move, and on the day of a huge earthquake no less, when I was nothing but a boring otaku freak. It wasn't normal. Because of that, I couldn't help but think that everyone from back then was being mind controlled by Shogun. But regardless of whether or not that was true, I'd still publicly humiliated myself. It wasn't something I'd escape after enduring a quick shitstorm online that'd be forgotten about in a week. Was this it for me? Would I no longer be able to live in peace? Suddenly, Nanami's face appeared in the back of my mind. I bit down on my lip and hugged my knees. Even if that was no longer attainable. As long as I could save Nanami, none of it would matter. Even if people from all over the world snickered at me and called me a pathetic loser for the rest of my life, it would make no difference to me. But I couldn't save her. I couldn't even do that much. No, stop with the pain. Oh. Oh. Tears began to fall from my eyes.
どうしました？どこか痛みます？
Emotionally, shaking my head over and over, I kept on crying. Nanami was dead. Nanami was dead and she was never coming back. I hope she just busts through the fucking hospital door and just... Oni-chance. It was all my fault. All my fault, all my fault, all my fault. Because of how worthless I was. Because of how much of a fucking loser I was. Nanami was dead. Back on the rooftop, I'd given up so easily on obtaining the Dai sword. I had Seraton's seductive voice in my ear. Yeah, the voice of Satan! But that was just my pathetic self pretending to be someone else. I was the one who made the decision. He's aware. I'd made myself look like a pitiful victim. I'd chosen to sacrifice Nanami so that I would survive. I hated myself. How fucking pathetic I was. If only I just tried a little harder. Just a little bit harder. I told myself that I'd given up on my own volition. But now that it was all over, I regretted every single thing I'd done on that rooftop. I was absolutely disgusted with myself. I mean, I would be too. She was gone. Nothing could save her now. And yet, even still, I couldn't help but think that if I could just go back to that rooftop, and if I just tried a little bit harder, but I knew that even if I actually could go back, I'd just give up all over again, finding some other excuse to get me out of it. I was gonna say, we could Groundhog Day this. Come on now. Just delusion us back to the past. That was just who I was. A completely useless, irredeemable piece of shit. Jesus.
ナナミ、ごめん。ナナミ。
Hatsuki-san rubbed my back in an attempt to comfort me. I was a useless sack of shit to the very end. I was even causing problems for nurses that had nothing to do with me. The tears refused to stop.
何か後悔していることがあるんですね。
No
でもきっ
shit.
と妹さんも許してくれますよ。
He's like, wait, huh? How did she know Nanami was my sister? Even that aside, the formulaic consolation she was giving me was the last thing I needed right now. I'm sorry, Hazuki-san, but no one else could understand how I feel. I hated myself. I was pathetic. I did nothing but take advantage of everyone else and only ever thought of myself. The world would just be better off without me. Maybe I should just end it all. No, that's never the
昨
option.
日もしきりに西条さんのことを心配していましたよ。
Okay, see, I figured it was her, and he's gonna be like, what?
とても可愛らしい妹さんですね。
What the fuck was she talking about?
ナナミは、妹は、死にました。
No, she's fine. She'd been kidnapped by Shogun, her hand had been cut off, then she'd been imprisoned somewhere, and in the end she died, all alone and afraid. When I imagined it, it felt like my heart was being torn into dozens of tiny pieces.
そうなんですか。
Uh,
ごめんなさい。勘違いしてしまって。
no, you didn't. All my life, I thought that Nanami was annoying. Although we had been siblings for 16 years. Even though she called me a jerk more times than I could count. She was always worried about me. She was always on your side. The reason why she'd always nagged me so much was because she'd been trying to help me break free from my toxic lifestyle. Whenever she brought me food from our parents' house, she didn't just give it to me and leave. She'd always tried to share it with me. Normally, if a girl her age had an otaku freak for a brother, they'd never associate with him. And while the things she'd said didn't make her the easiest person to be around, she'd still talk to me, and she would listen too. Whenever I'd been at school, she never avoided me. No, she would actually approach me. No matter what, Nanami had always treated me, a vile otaku freak virgin, like her brother. Ah! Like a human being. Her mere existence had helped me more than I ever knew. But realizing that did me no good now. It was too late.
でもだとしたら鬼ってどういう意味なのかしら。
Huh? There it is. I looked up, unable to properly comprehend what I had just heard. As my eyes were blurry with tears, I couldn't see Hazuki-san's face properly. What had she just said?
眠ってる西条さんをお兄と何度も呼んでいたから、その印象が強くて。
There was only one person who ever called me that.
それ、本当ですか？
Oh my god, he just flies out of the bed, vaulting out of my bed. I press Hazuki-san for an answer. Shake her! Shake her like a baby!
はい。何がです？
ナナミが、妹がナナミがここに来てたんですか？
Like, man, he really is crazy.
いえ、 はっきりお名前を聞いたわけでは。
僕のこと鬼って呼んでたんですね。
ええ。
ななみは今どこに？
She left.
ですから、昨日はお帰りになりましたけど、
Yeah.
西条さんのお母様と一緒に。
Okay, so she was with mom then.
怪我とかしてませんでしたか？
はい。いえ、特には。
Oh, and you would see a lopped off hand.
元気だったんですね。ななみは元気だったんですね。
はい。いえ、ななみさんかどうかはわかりませんけど、昨日いらしていた女の子は元気そうでしたよ。
She's so confused. I love it. Nanami was alive. Oh my god. From everything Azuki-san had said, it had to be true. I sat down on the bed, utterly dazed. But how? Shogun had said that he wouldn't give Nanami back to me until I completed his quest. Had he just released her out of pity? Please, God. Or had Nanami escaped on her own? But then how would that explain the hand that had been sent to me? Someone else's hand. According to Hazuki-san, Nanami hadn't even been injured.
もしかしたら君の家に送ったあの手首は別人のものかもしれないよ。
He even said it. What he'd said, it hadn't been a lie. He'd played me. I've been dancing right in his tune. Shogun had deceived me. Wow. No, that didn't matter right now.
そっか。
So that was it. It was all coming together. Nanami had never been kidnapped at all. Back when I'd been at O-Front trying desperately to grab the Dai sword, Nanami must have been relaxing back at home reading manga or going out to karaoke with her friends or just so she could show off her shitty singing voice or doing whatever the hell she liked to do. Oh. Jesus. I was crying, but I couldn't help but laugh.
西条さん？
Can you let go of me now, please?
将軍にまんまと騙された。
Just don't. Just stop saying words out loud.
なんという壮大な釣りだよ。
Epic bait. Oh my god, dude. She was alive. Nanami was alive. I could see that bratty ass face of hers again. I could hear that obnoxious, shrill voice of hers again. The mere thought was enough to bring me a deep sense of relief and an intense joy that rose from the bottom of my heart.
よかった。
I couldn't stop crying, but the tears weren't the tears of regret I'd been crying earlier.
よかった。
Oh, come here. I'll give you a hug this one time. I was an utterly useless pile of shit, but I couldn't help it. The day before I'd given up without being able to do anything. But even so, as long as Nanami was alive, I didn't wish for anything else. The whole world could mock me until the end of time for all I cared. I was overjoyed. Thank God that she was safe. I thought he was like just drifting away. Because it said, a lady, a young woman showed up and saw us, but then like right afterwards they were like, oh, your mom, and so you're like, I don't know, but then, yeah, I figured it was Nanami too. Oh, thank God. This just raises even more questions. Everything raises more questions, really. That's just what this game is.